I never thought I'd be the kind of man who got ghosted by his own wife. Ghosting is something you hear about in dating apps or casual flings, not in a marriage built on nearly a decade of history. But that's exactly what happened. One Thursday morning, without warning, without even the courtesy of a proper excuse, my wife vanished into what she called a girl's trip. She left behind a sticky note on the fridge that simply said, "Don't wait up, be back in a few days." No details, no explanation, nothing resembling respect. At first, I tried not to panic. I told myself maybe it was spontaneous. Maybe her friends had convinced her last minute. Maybe she just needed a break. But even as I gave her the benefit of the doubt, something inside me twisted. Wives don't just disappear without talking. They don't turn off their phones, they don't leave their husbands staring at a blank screen, wondering why calls go straight to voicemail. The first night was unsettling. I sat on the couch, staring at her empty wine glass on the counter, the faint trace of her perfume still in the hallway. By the second night, the unease had hardened into anger. She wasn't answering texts, wasn't picking up calls. It was as if she had blocked me out of existence. Ghosted by the woman who vowed to love and honor me. On the third day, I stopped being patient. I checked our shared credit card. That's when I saw the charges. A luxury spa in another city, a 5-star resort, fine dining restaurants. None of it matched the idea of a simple girls' trip. The expenses weren't just high, they were extravagant. The kind of indulgence she'd once told me we couldn't afford when I wanted to take a vacation together. That discovery flipped a switch inside me. This wasn't about needing space. This wasn't about friendship or relaxation. This was about betrayal, about secrets. While I sat at home wondering if she was safe, she was sipping champagne by a pool I'd never seen, in a place she hadn't even bothered to mention. I began to notice things I had ignored before. Her distant stares during dinner, the half-hearted hugs, the way her phone was always face down on the table. In hindsight, all the red flags were there. I just didn't want to believe them. By the time she finally texted, it wasn't an apology. It wasn't even an acknowledgement of the days of silence. She sent me a casual, almost mocking line. "Back tomorrow. Don't stress so much." Don't stress? That was all she had to say after leaving me in the dark, after blowing money we'd both worked hard for, after treating our marriage like a background inconvenience. That message was the final crack in a foundation already crumbling. I spent the night awake thinking. I thought about the years I'd given her, the loyalty, the small sacrifices no one ever talks about. The moments I wanted her attention but got nothing but indifference. The countless times I brushed off my own feelings just to keep peace in the house. And here she was, treating me as if I was an afterthought, someone so unimportant that disappearing for days required no explanation. So I made my choice. I wasn't going to wait around for her to waltz back into the house with excuses or lies. I wasn't going to sit in the same silence she had forced on me. If she wanted distance, I was going to give it to her. Permanently. The morning she returned, she probably expected me to be there, angry but still waiting, ready to fight or forgive. Instead, the house was quiet. My clothes, my essentials, my presents, all gone. She had ghosted me for her secret getaway. But when she came back, she learned what it felt like to be the one left behind. When she walked into the empty house, I can only imagine the look on her face. She probably expected to see me pacing the floor, ready to unleash questions and accusations. Instead, she was met with silence. The closets were half empty, the dresser drawers cleared, the nightstand bare. All that remained was a simple envelope on the dining table. Inside, I had left a note. "You ghosted me. Now you know what it feels like." I didn't wait for her to read it. By then, I was already gone. I had packed my car, booked a small apartment in another part of town, and shut off the joint accounts she had been using so carelessly. The man she had treated like a placeholder was no longer waiting in the background. At first, the texts came rapid fire. "Where are you? We need to talk. Stop being dramatic." But I didn't answer. Just as she had done to me, I let the silence speak for itself. Her ghosting had been born from selfishness. Mine was born from clarity. Then the tone shifted. The texts turned desperate. "Please come home. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It was just some time for myself. You're overreacting. She even tried to soften it with nostalgia. Think about everything we've built together. Don't throw it away like this. But that was the problem. She already had thrown it away. The moment she chose secrecy over honesty, indulgence over partnership, she had dismantled everything I thought we shared. What we had built was already rubble. I replayed our last few years in my head. The arguments that went nowhere. The way she dismissed my concerns, rolling her eyes as if my feelings were an inconvenience. The intimacy that had withered until we were strangers under the same roof. I had spent so long believing that maybe she would change, that maybe love meant enduring endless disrespect. But standing in that small apartment, reading her frantic messages, I realized something. Sometimes leaving isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming the dignity someone else tried to take from you. Days passed, and she tried showing up at my work. She left voicemails, long and tearful, saying she had made a mistake. Friends even reached out on her behalf, urging me to give her another chance. But the more she tried to pull me back, the more I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I could breathe without the constant pressure of her coldness. The truth is, her getaway wasn't just a vacation. It was a symptom of a deeper disease in our marriage: entitlement, selfishness, and a lack of respect. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. I know some people will say I should have stayed and fought for it. That marriage is about weathering storms. But this wasn't a storm storms pass. This was a drought, a slow suffocation that left nothing alive between us. And when she ghosted me, it wasn't just a trip. It was a confirmation that I was already living alone, even while sharing a house. So, I left her with her luxury spas, her fine dining, her secrets. I left her with the choices she made. And I took with me the one thing she had forgotten I still had: the power to walk away. In the end, she returned from her secret getaway expecting her life to be waiting in the same place she had left it. But life doesn't pause for selfish people. When she walked back into that house and found it empty, she learned what I had already come to understand. Sometimes the real betrayal isn't when someone cheats or lies. Sometimes the real betrayal is when they make you feel invisible. And the only way to win against that kind of betrayal is to disappear too.